Dear Princess Celestia, today I learned about the slaughtering of American natives. It made me sad. Also, a young colt brought a gun to school today. Cheerly snatched it away just in time. This wouldn't happen if we voted for Diamond Tiara. Just saying. Your rebellious student, Fuzzy Cocksleeve.
Hey, what's going on guys? Chronic Clopper here, and welcome to today's video. For many of you who don't know, this actually is not my original channel. Most of my time on YouTube has been spent on my review channel. I originally got my start as a My Little Pony analyst. Yes, these people, I used to be one of them. I left the fandom in 2019 for reasons that I may or may not say for a future video. I don't know, it could happen. But what I can tell you is that I found that the Brony fandom was very reflective on a lot of toxic things that you can find on the internet. If we want to talk specifics, a lot of radical leftists. Now, I'm not a political channel and I'll never advertise myself as such, and having left-leaning ideas is completely okay. I share many of those ideas myself. But for those who have seen that part of the online world, you probably know what I'm talking about. Throughout my time in the Brony fandom, I saw quite a bit of this. And even though I haven't engaged with it in many years, what we're going to be talking about today does not surprise me in the slightest. This is Cxcd. What's that stand for? I don't know, you be the judge. He's been around for a couple years, focusing on My Little Pony related content. He seems to have a lot of talent and experience in video production. He knows his way around enticing thumbnails and has very good presentation and clear visual quality. In regards to his Twitter, he seems, quite fond of horses. What also caught my eye are the rather interesting topics he chooses to tackle. I'm not going to talk about these because I'm not going to sit here and say that he can't make this kind of content. However, a few months back, I got suggested a video of his, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. Before we get into it, let me ask you guys something. How often have you looked at the adventures of Twilight Sparkle and her friends, her dragon, rainbow beams, crystal kings, and shape-shifting bug horses, a parallel world of high schoolers who also deal with their own conflicts surrounding magic and dangerous villains? How many of you have gone through all of that and thought to yourselves, why are they so fucking white? The whitewashing of Equestria girls. So yeah, Ponyboy here has some thoughts to share on the human version of Gen 4. Is it going to be a well-structured analysis of the deeper roots of Hasbro's corporate racism that's presented without bias and not just a joke of a presentation and that doesn't actually offer anything to any argument about race? And it just seems to cultivate an audience of people trying to force their own views of race into media where it doesn't belong?
You be the judge.
How do you whitewash raceless characters?
You don't. You literally can't. That kinda defeats the whole purpose.
I don't know. Ask Hasbro. If you've never seen Equestria Girls before, and this is the first time seeing these characters, then I am incredibly sorry for you. If you don't know already, when they decided to turn the ponies into humans, they decided not to give them race and skin tone.
And this is a problem to you? You're not even trying to hide how badly you look at race in media, which, okay, if that's what you want to do, but some sources are far better than others. And I'd have to say a human version of a cartoon horse world is not exactly the place to talk about race. You're probably thinking that there's no way this dude is serious. Well, I can't find anything stating that he approaches his content from a satirical angle. I'm pretty sure this dude is dead serious. Very interesting how he himself has stated that it's just a show not meant to be taken seriously. So which is it, man? Just a simple show or a sneak peek into Hasbro's deep-rooted racism?
They simply just took the colors of the horses and gave them to the humans. And this gave us pastel humans like a purple Twilight, a yellow Fluttershy, and a blue Rainbow Dash. Anytime a human is blue is when they're dying of asphyxiation.
Are you actually serious or are you just trying to be funny? Because both of those don't land here. The way you present yourself comes off as more pompous than humorous. Expectations are already low if we're talking about a cartoon, a kid's show nonetheless. You trying to bring realism to, once again, a human adaptation of a show about colorful horses with magical friendship powers. Can you please direct this topic to the hundreds of kids shows with already defined races? You yourself have already laid out the choice of direction the creators used to approach the color palette of the characters, so why even make this at all?
Because at the end of the day, they're fictional ponies. Who cares what race they are, right?
Hey, you said it, not me.
I mean, except for Pinky. I mean, she's obviously black.
Dude, that wasn't funny. You're not convincing. Were you trying to be serious? This topic is so pointless I can't even tell.
But besides Pinky, I don't think any of the ponies should have races. Except for Rarity. She's obviously Asian. And Rainbow Dash is Native American. Twilight's Indian, and Fluttershy and Applejack are white.
Oh my god, you're still going? Are you trying to be spiteful? That's how it's starting to come off. Like you're trying to pick a fight with these racists who want to eliminate race from a series that stemmed from another series that's not even about humans. Yeah, but what about you, Zev? No, don't get me wrong. I am trying to pick a fight here. I'm going after someone trying to force a conversation about race in the last place that it should end up. So after a few more jokes that aren't really jokes, and a brief summary of whitewashing and why it's harmful, even though he doesn't list any immediate examples, so I'll do it for him. Sokka and Katara from The Last Airbender. That's all I got. I mean, if you want to ask for blackwashed characters, I can give you plenty of those.
So now that we know about whitewashing, how the actual hell does MLP do it? I will be talking about 3 characters who are quite damaged from their original appearance.
Damaged? Is that the best description you could have used? You don't like how something turned out, so you claim it's just a broken aspect? I mean, if you have your reasons, I'd love to hear them.
Big Mac. Here he is as a pony, and here he is as a human. Oh my god.
Dude, what's the problem? Seriously, what the fuck is the problem? They made his skin lighter, and would you rather they keep his natural dark red coat? Oh wait, he actually brings that up.
I can see why they turned him a different color, because the red is very hard on the eyes as a human. They turned him pink! He's white!
Yeah, at this point, you're not even trying to hide it. You're so obsessed with race, you're wasting your talent and focus about the skin color of a cartoon character, not to mention a minor character. Where do you go from here?
This mock-up on Reddit to show everybody what Big Mac would look like with these original colors. So I can understand why they wanted to turn Big Mac's colors a little bit brighter. So here's my own mock-up I made of the other image. I just brought his colors down a little bit, and he is so much better, dude.
Oh my god, he did it. He actually pulled the I fixed your art bullshit. Yeah, if it wasn't already clear enough, it's official where this dude's headspace is. He's another progressive brony who ironically portrays themselves as the exact opposite of what they're fighting for. And his redesign of Big Mac's skin just does not work for me. Even with a world like Equestria Girls, he comes off as sunburnt. He just doesn't mix in well with the rest of the cast.
Cheerly, on the other hand, here she is as a pony, and here she is as a human. I've actually talked to some people who genuinely didn't realize that this character in Equestria Girls was Cheerly, and thought it was just some random background teacher character.
And if they made her a person of color, do you really think the fandom would recognize her? Is this a design issue or a race issue? What's your issue?
It's worse than Big Mac because, unlike Big Mac, she looks fine with her original colors.
You are not gonna sit here and tell me that that actually looks good. In fact, I'm gonna reach out to my own friends from the fandom and see what they have to say. So I just need you guys for a second, if you guys are on board with this. Of course, this topic is Equestria Girls. I love it. Everyone loves it. You don't have a choice. So this is Cheerly's Equestria Girls design. What do you guys think?
It looks normal to me. I mean, for a show that doesn't really want to like take the more realistic approach with making them have like regular skin pigmentations, I guess it's fine.
Someone decided to quote unquote fix it by giving her her pony color scheme. What do you think of this?
Oh my that actually doesn't look that bad.
Well, I got what I need. I'm gonna cut out Nightshade's reaction, so we're all good.
Are you
And now finally, for our last character, we have Princess Luna. Guys, I need you to hold on to your horses, okay? Brace for impact, because things are gonna get a little bit bumpy. Deep breaths, okay? I need to mentally prepare you for the tragedy of what Luna's gonna be like, okay?
You're acting like we all haven't seen it 100 times already.
Here she is! Yeah, I think I'm done. I'm not. No, I'm okay.
What's the problem? What is the problem? What the fuck is the problem?
Physically, nothing is particularly wrong with this model. It looks fine. But it doesn't look like Luna.
Have you thought about the simple fact that transitioning pony designs to human anatomy would bring some difficulties that couldn't be perfectly replicated? Nah, it's not only a race thing, it's one of the worst cases of racism in the entire series.
I personally would headcanon Luna as being darker toned, and I understand a lot of people don't feel the same way. A lot of fan art makes her white. I get that.
You're letting headcanon affect your view on the series? There's a theory that Twilight Sparkle was Clover the Clever. Are you gonna speak about that like it's fact?
But this? It's literally a raceless character being whitewashed.
That doesn't exist. That's not possible. You're already more than halfway through this racially motivated video and still have not been able to prove that. In fact, a lot of the points you make actually support Hasbro. How can you whitewash a character with no previously established race? I don't see how that's any different from complaining that an original character is a certain race, which, after saying that out loud, sounds kind of racist. I just imagine myself at the writer's table for Equestria Girls. How do we want to design our characters? We could give them their own races to reflect the real world. However, considering that the magic of Equestria has impact on this version of the human world as well, not to mention recycling already established characters, it would make more sense of our approach to the art style to have it better reflect the already existing color palette, while of course making the necessary adjustments to make it easier on the eyes. And then people like this swoop in and make a racial comparison to the real world. Dude, I don't think that's a healthy headspace to be in.
In the comics, it's even worse. In the comics, Luna is borderline actually white. Oh, but don't you worry, although I just labeled the most 3 egregious examples of skin tones being whitewashed in the series.
You're stating out loud that these are the worst examples. 3 minor characters. You really wanted to make this video, didn't you? Granted, Luna is a rather important character, but not what I'd consider a quote-unquote main character. Then he spends the next chunk explaining that the characters having lighter skin tone than their pony counterparts actually makes it easier on the eyes, which of course I agree with, but is also expressing emotion over how Hasbro quote-unquote didn't even try. Gee, maybe because not every series has to be about race? You're trying to make a big deal about whitewashing in a series which obviously involves race-swapping characters, while at the same time stating on more than one occasion that these are raceless characters. That doesn't work, dude. I've said this already. You went into this conversation with absolutely no leg to stand on.
One point that stuck out to me specifically about Luna was that the equestrian Luna and the human Luna are not carbon copies of one another. They are separate characters who live very separate lives. They just share broad, overarching similarities. I get what you're saying. They're not the same character, but I'm not arguing about character similarities and character differences, how one Luna would act compared to the other one. I'm comparing physical traits. I'm talking about skin color.
I'm talking about skin color. I've had conversations with actual racists that did not say shit that out of pocket. He spends another chunk talking about the arguments in his Discord server, as well as bringing toy marketing into it, and finally, at the end of the video, he gets the closest to forming a legitimate argument by sharing concept art. Concept art. Rough drafts. Nothing official, just something that was proposed. And it doesn't make an ounce of difference in the end, because what they chose to do with Twilight was an approach they made with every other character, and that's simply giving them their pony color scheme, or at least a rough color scheme, and keeping their races ambiguous. But apparently that's not enough for this guy. He is actually bothered that there are no defined races in the series for little kids. The thought of having a mostly white cast actually bothers this guy.
Still, I think it's very sad that we had the potential to have darker skin tones and we just never did. That, and I think Hasbro just really wanted to avoid pissing off the fandom.
Silly black people.
You want to know the funniest thing about this? Throughout this entire 12-minute video about race and fictional characters, he never once, not once, brought up Zecora, the one character that is an actual depiction of an African, being a zebra, having the accent, and different cultural details. He never brought her into the argument, which really sucks because it may have strengthened what he had to say, but he just didn't do it. So what do the people in the comments have to say about this? Well, I can tell you that this dude tends to attract people with very predictable tastes. Here's a couple more notable ones. The people in the comments completely missing the point that even though they made all the characters Technicolor, they still decided to make them all have light skin, as in all of them are light versions of their original colors. Even if they aren't any literal human skin color, that's still a conscious decision. They could have just as well made all of them darker shades of the rainbow instead. It's still implying that light skin is the default. Most arguments I see defending the decision go as far as to imply that light skin is the superior aesthetic choice, like the character designs would be unreadable, match poorly, or in any way uglier than darker skin. That mentality is the issue. First of all, I'm not entirely sure what people in the comments they're referring to, considering that the most upvoted comments are not hating on this video. But let's break down what they said. Because Hasbro chose to approach their characters with a certain color palette that relates to their canonical pony forms, they're implying that they are following some sort of racial superiority ideology. They claim that making the characters lighter skinned is an issue, even though we've already established that showing the characters with their original color scheme does not always lead to the best results. They say it was a conscious choice. Yeah, well, if they chose to make them dark-skinned, that would also be a conscious choice. They can make their characters however they want. Stop making a big deal because they don't have dark enough skin. Thing is, there is darker skin tones in Equestria Girls. In Sunset's and Twilight's demon forms, the character designers had the full knowledge and ability to design appealing, readable characters with darker skin tones, and they only used it for the villains. That to me makes it worse than just having no darker skin characters at all, to be honest. I remember a few years ago on the Equestria Girls retrospective video, someone brought up the whitewashing of the characters in the comments and people acted like they were being ridiculous. I'm glad someone else is speaking about this because I do love Equestria Girls, but will still point out its flaws. First of all, there are darker skin tones. These people don't even get basic grammar. And this person also implied that there was deeper racial motivations because the villains of Equestria Girls have slightly darker skin tones. Even though darker shades have always been a representation of villainy for pretty much all of cinema. And that aside, we're still talking about technicolored skin tones, not even something you'd expect from any race of people. These people are going to such lengths to make an argument about race. It's exhausting. I'm a doll collector myself, and I think the darker die cost is low-key BS. Equestria Girls at the end of the day is a ripoff of Monster High, and Monster High from the beginning had characters with darker skin tones. Leo and Claudine, for example, both have darker skin tones. Hell, they even made a Caddy and I'm not pronouncing that, who are straight out black. Mattel clearly had no issue with this, then why can't Hasbro do the same? They have the money to give the dolls darker skin tones, but they just don't want to. They don't have to. It's their own characters. It's their own series. Let them do what they want. There is zero hard evidence of racial motivation here. You people are upset that cartoon characters aren't black enough. Thank fucking God someone points this out. Even as a brainwashed kid, I looked at Luna and immediately thought, what the fuck, where's her melanin? It's a goddamn cartoon. Oh, okay, yeah, I think we're done here. So why exactly did I make such an in-depth video on such a dumb topic? Because I am sick and tired of forced representation in media. I actually hold a different viewpoint in regards to how people look at queer representation, for example. While I do think there are good and bad ways to do it, I have a hard time believing that this kind of representation can be, well, forced. I mean, you're not exactly forcing anything if you just have a gay character. However, it's shit like this that I'm talking about, where people can't simply just enjoy their piece of media, let alone a children's cartoon, without being so obsessed with race. Even if it is my own conscious choice to do so, I will never not be upset by crap like this. Let characters be characters. Stop trying to assume that there's some racial motivation all because a cartoon character's design doesn't match your radical headcanon. So with all of that being said, that's gonna do it for today. If y'all enjoyed, feel free to like and sub. Stay safe, stay sane, fuck your friendship lessons, I hate everyone, goodbye.
Pimations! Yeah!